You want to know what the most popular word is in 2025? It's the word side hustle. Everybody's talking about side hustle. Hey, what's your side hustle? What's your side hustle? Everybody wants their side hustle to be their main hustle because they love their side hustle. It's a passion project. But there's only one problem. The side hustle doesn't pay the bills. The main hustle, aka your 9 to 5 corporate job, that pays the bills. But the side hustle doesn't. So there's a bit of a dilemma. In this video, I'm going to give you a 3-step plan for how you can take your side hustle to your main hustle. Stick around for the last one. It's the most important point. Let's get into it. Hey everyone, welcome to Courtside Conversations. My name's Emile, founder and owner of Little Boomers Basketball, and it's a pleasure to be your host today. Wherever you're watching today's episode, I hope you're having a booming day, and yes, the pun is intended. My journey to entrepreneurship started on May 1st, 2018 when I launched my first basketball program with 9 kids enrolled. Today, thousands of kids across Australia are thriving in our programs, all thanks to the commitment and passion of our incredible franchisees. This podcast is here to give you real, straightforward, no BS insights into business, entrepreneurship, and what it's like to own a franchise. Without further ado, let's get into today's episode. So everybody I speak to when I'm doing my franchise discovery course, they all got 9 to 5 corporate jobs. They've got jobs that are paying the bills. They see this investment opportunity, a Little Boomers basketball franchise, as a great side hustle. And they hope that one day this side hustle can replace their 9 to 5 job. Now, I was in a similar situation if you are in this situation. I was working at my local PCYC, young man, 19-year-old, and I started Little Boomers basketball on the side. The dilemma was Little Boomers basketball wasn't big enough financially to sustain my lifestyle, right? I didn't have much of a lifestyle being an 18-year-old, but it wasn't enough for me to say, you know what, I want to leave my day job and go full out with Little Boomers basketball. However, slowly but slowly, I followed a plan to make my side hustle my main hustle. Eventually, I went to a crossways where I left my main job and I went full-time with Little Boomers basketball. However, the biggest problem if you're trying to make your side hustle, your main hustle, is your lifestyle. What you need to understand, when I transitioned from my side hustle to my main hustle, I'm a 19-year-old with no responsibilities. I lived at home. I didn't have a mortgage. I didn't have kids. I didn't have family. My appetite for risk is a lot higher than, for example, somebody who might have kids, might have rent, might have groceries, might have a mortgage, might have a family. You can't just say, you know what, I'm quitting my 9 to 5 job. I'm going to go full out with this side hustle. That's going to put you in the red zone. So that's the first thing I want to establish. Where you're at in your life is drastically going to affect the game plan I'm just about to give you. Point number 1, feed your baby. When you start a new business or you're starting something on the side, whether it's a Little Boomers franchise or your own passion project, whatever it is, you got to feed your baby. It's like you've just given birth to a new child. If you don't feed it in the form of time, energy, and resources, your baby, aka your side project, will die, and a lot of them do die. And what amazes me sometimes is when we're speaking to a potential franchise partner, they'll say, I want to leave this on the side and hopefully it will pick up and then I can replace it with my main job. You can't just hope. Your side hustle, if you don't feed it, right, it's not just going to blow up or to pick it up. You need to invest a minimum of 20 to 30 hours a week developing your side hustle so that it can become profitable enough to take over your 9 to 5 job. You can't just hope, right? And what a lot of people do that I see is they do their 9 to 5 job, they come back home at 5:30, they're buggered, they're hammered, and they start to work on their side business. And think about it for a second. What energy are you going to be able to put into your side hustle after a big day of 9 to 5? Nothing. Your 9 to 5 zapped all your energy, and whatever leftover you've got in your tank, which is probably a minuscule, that's what's going to go into your side hustle, and it just never works out. So what I recommend you do is you've got 3 options to really put 20 to 30 hours a week minimum in a side hustle. And in our franchise agreement, by the way, it says franchisees need to spend a minimum of 25 hours a week. It's there because we know what makes a successful franchise. The first one is you got to wake up at 5 a.m. and between 5 and 8 a.m., that's your block to invest on your side hustle. Because the reality is, if you're going to work from a normal 9 to 5 job, Monday to Friday, where's the time going to come from if you don't wake up early, right? So I recommend 5 a.m., to 8 a.m., 3 hours, 5 days a week, boom, that's 15 hours straight away. That's option one. Option two, if you can financially afford it, go from full-time to part-time. At least that way you can invest 2 to 3 days a week on your side hustle, right? Or option three is you got to work weekends. You got to work weekends. Now, you're probably saying to me, far out, Emile, I've got a 9-to-5 job, I've got kids, I've got family. That's a bit of a stretch. Yeah, it is a stretch. But if you want to make your side hustle, the passion project where you have the most passion in, your main hustle and replace the 9-to-5, that's the sacrifice that you need to make. And unfortunately, many people stay in the 9-to-5 rat race because it's too hard. That's what I'm trying to say to you. This time requirement, it's difficult, but it is possible. Let's move on to point number two. The other day I was speaking to a lady and she was telling me that she's run some hypothetical profit and loss numbers and she wanted to run them by me. So I said, okay, what do you have? I've calculated, Emile, the court hire fees to be about $200 an hour. And then I said, whoa, hold on. Your numbers are really off. And so I said, where did you get those numbers from? Oh, look, I assumed. Never assume. I've created a franchise profit calculator where you can input real numbers, court hire fees, coaches' wages, how many kids you have in the program, so you can find out what your potential profit is per class. Click the link below to use the calculator. I hope you find it useful. And here we go. Point number two, you need to live below your means if you want to make your side hustle your main hustle. Going back to that classic example, I'm 28 years old now, and Little Boomers is my full-time gig. It's a dream come true, right? There's not many 28-year-olds that can actually do what they love. They're going to the city, they're doing dead-end jobs. I'm very fortunate because I've started at a young age. But what you need to understand, if your lifestyle is a lot higher, it's going to be much more difficult for your side hustle, income-wise, to replace your main hustle. I'll give you an example. Let's say you need a minimum of $10,000 per month to pay for your lifestyle. Mortgage, rent, holiday, kids, school fees, etc. Let's say it's $10,000. Your side hustle or your business has to produce $40,000 in profit per month. Oh, what do you mean $40,000 a meal? Isn't it $10,000? No, because the company tax rate in Australia is 25%. So if you make 40 grand in profit and get taxed 25%, you've got 10 grand left. That will cover your lifestyle. Look how much more difficult that is to get your side hustle pumping versus if you cut that in half and you made your lifestyle amount $5,000. If you cut that in half, your side hustle now has to produce $20,000 in profit, because remember, 25% tax, right? $5,000 in profit, much more easier. So if your goal, if you want to make your side hustle, your passion project, whether it's a Little Boomers basketball franchise or whatever else you love and you're interested in, because I speak to everybody on the phone, they can't stand their corporate job. If you want to do that, you need to live below your means, because the higher your lifestyle is, the higher and the more money your side hustle will need to produce to sustain that lifestyle. And then once you've done that, effectively what you want to do is you want to set yourself goals and benchmarks, right? For example, let's say it's $10,000 is your lifestyle amount. You want your side hustle to be able to produce 50% of that. Once you've done that, then you go to 60%. Then you go to 100%. Then at 100%, your side hustle income, the profits from your side hustle is now sustaining your lifestyle. But we're not done yet, because you can't just take all the profits from your side hustle and pay for your bills. You need to reinvest your profits to grow your business. So what you want to be able to do, if you can get your side hustle to supersede your lifestyle, say at 150%, then you have permission now to leave your 9-to-5 corporate job, because you've got that buffer. Your side hustle's profit is producing reoccurring profits that's now not only sustaining your lifestyle, but has a surplus where you can reinvest. And you could tell your boss, hey, I'm not coming back Monday. And point number three, this is the most important point as you devise your plan to make your side hustle or your passion project your main hustle. Strong systems save you time. You need to make sure you've got automation in place. Strong systems, you're utilizing AI to the best you can, because the reality is, if you're working a corporate 9-to-5 job, your side hustle still needs its attention when you're away. So you need to hire potentially a VA, somebody to take care of your inbox, because there's going to be inquiries, sales, phone calls coming in when you're doing your corporate job. And if you're just going to get back to them after 5 o'clock, guess how much business you're going to lose? It's just not going to work out. So you've got to have strong systems. You need to have automations in place. You need to potentially hire a VA to make sure that you're contacting all leads and all inquiries within 60 seconds. Yes, I said that, 60 seconds. Oh, but Emile, I've got a corporate job. How can I contact leads within 60 seconds? You hire someone. Speed to lead, right? Speed to lead. You hire someone, but you need to have strong systems, because the reality is your corporate job's going to be consuming a lot of your time and attention, and you're just not going to have that much. You're time poor, unfortunately. You're time poor. You're not going to have an abundance of time available to work on the side hustle. That's point number 3. So I want to finish this video by saying this, right? Everybody talks about financial freedom, right? We always hear that word, wealth. I want to be financially free. What does that actually mean to you? Because if I said to you, for example, hey, you're earning $200,000 or $300,000, but you're working 9 to 5 in a job you don't like, and you're on call 24/7. If your boss needs you here, you got to leave your family. Are you financially free even though you're earning a high income? A lot of people say, well, no, I'm not. What about if you just took a cut and you just say $80,000 a year, but you're doing what you love on your own time with who you love? Isn't that the ultimate freedom? So how I define wealth and how I define financial freedom is simple like this. It's simply like this: doing what I love, when I want, with who I want. That is the ultimate financial freedom. So if you're trying to make your side hustle, right, your main hustle, you've got to get those 3 pillars down. You've got to invest at least 20 to 30 hours a week on the business. You have to. 20 to 30 hours a week on the business. You need to live below your means. The lower your lifestyle is, the easier and the more comfortable you can leave your 9 to 5 job. And the third point is you need to have strong systems to save you time. If you enjoyed this video, give me a thumbs up, put a comment below. If you liked this video, if you found it useful, give me a feedback. I'll see you in the next video.